Hello and welcome to the presentation on SDG 5, Gender Equality. Uh, SDG 5 is the measure of how women and girls are represented in our society as equals to men and boys. The UN describes it as achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. The goal measures progress by studying discrimination and violence against women, elimination of forced marriages, rating maternal care, and ensuring women's ability to participate in leadership roles. Now, due to the nature of the data I will go over here, I'll be comparing Finland to the United States, along with the highest ranked and the lowest ranked countries in terms of gender equality, and we'll talk about that more in just a bit. So, Finland is generally seen as a fairly equal country and has been ranked by Hostel World in the top 10 safest countries to visit as a solo female traveler. The first metric we'll look at is 5.1.1 legal frameworks addressing gender equality overall. This is an overview of how the country is doing in terms of gender equality in general. Finland and US are both at 70%. Poland is reported to be at 100%. And the Bahamas is the lowest rated at 20%, down in 2024. The next indicator we'll look at is 5.2.1, the share of women who experience violence from an intimate partner. The data was gathered in 2018. Finland is shown as being slightly above the US in this metric, where 5.6% of women above the age of 15 reported violence from partners. The US is at 4.2%. The country with the highest percentage of women who reported intimate violence is Afghanistan at 33.6%, and the lowest is Switzerland at 1.2. It's also important to note that there are a lot of countries here that do not have any data reported on this subject. Some of them include Russia, Somalia, Taiwan, the UAE, and Germany. If you check out our worldindata.org, you'll see this is true for many of the indicators on this goal. The next one we'll look at is 5.4.1 unpaid care work, time spent in unpaid care and domestic work by sex, or how many hours in a day on average is each sex spending on domestic or housework. Here we can see the United States and Finland are pretty much on par with each other, where men on average are spending roughly 2.5 hours a day, and women are spending 3.5 hours a day on housework. The country that I could find in this data set with the largest disparity in India, where men spend the largest disparity is India, where men spend roughly 45 minutes per day in unpaid domestic work, and women spend over 5 hours a day. Again, this is another data set that was missing a lot of information from countries. It seems to be pretty underreported. And the final indicator we'll look at is 5.5.1 Women in Parliament. Here we can see another interesting difference. As of 2025, the country with the highest percentage of legislature seats held up by women is Rwanda at 63%. Finland is second at 45%. The US is at 29%. And the country with the lowest percentage is Vanuatu, small island nation in the east of Australia. So, some key insights that we can make here, namely how unrepresented a lot of this data is, just how many countries there are that do not have data on gender equality for whatever reason. And my proposal for a tech oriented solution is to implement data networks that can gather and compile this information. This would allow for accurate reporting for things like underage marriages and violence against women. And one thing to keep in mind, even though that there are a lot of opportunities for gender equality in many of these different countries, the fact that so much of this information is missing is part of the reason why advancements are not moving forward. People actually have to know that the problem exists before they can make changes. So let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. And here are my sources in the Xmine map. Thank you. Have a good one.